kind of just like, eh.
Depressing.
It's just a couple of heroes, basically.
Yeah.
The other stuff that Rubik does is already pretty good. The only place that I think he's really weak right now is if he's in an aggro try and you lose the tri lane, he seems awful. Terrible at catching up, doesn't have very much damage output.
GPM.
He's terrible until 6, which is way before 10, so yeah.
Sorry.
That's
No
fine.
worries. I gotta say though, I'm not happy. I mean, I am very happy that Slardar is losing games lately. I mean, he's up on his high horse. He just got that cosmetic thing. He's
Looks
looking
great.
real sexy.
Never looks better.
It does look great.
It's good to take him down a peg, you know? I mean, good. Make him sad again, like when he was ugly.
I mean,
You don't even know what he was before.
He was beautiful on the inside, but now he's beautiful on the outside. And I'm jelly. Anyway.
Got a couple more bans in second phase. Naga's gone and the TA's gone as well.
I like the Disruptor pick by Newbie just because it helps. It's very effective against kind of escapable heroes, really. It kind of makes DC a little bit scared to pick something like Mirana or Ember Spirit, things like that. And it's pretty variable. It's good at laning, gives them tri-lane options. Both drafts are very safe right now. They don't really reveal anything, just some small nuances.
Yeah. Can I do say that I really like the Disruptor pick, especially against Juggernaut? I mean, I feel like whoever gets the drop on the other hero, whoever really gets in there first, is the one that's going to have that big advantage. And it's kind of a real fun. In Dota, sometimes we have rock, paper, scissors. These guys are 2 rocks. Just depends on the situation that they meet.
I agree, but it super counters Glimpse, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big lacking in that Disruptor. When ganking Jug pretty much means whenever he's initiating, it always has to be somebody initiating with an instant disable, and he has to ulti on top of that.
Man, they've taken out all the cheese. The Meepo, Naga, and Omni Knight, I think those are the 3 heroes in particular that DC used that way better than other teams.
Then
and
your team talk was a failure now.
they didn't. Well, at least Newbie, they just want a straight up game. They don't. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a failure for DC. It's just that they might not have good enough counters or comfortable enough counters versus these.
There's got to be more cheese somewhere, though.
Oh, speaking of more cheese, there we go.
Well, how about a great big lump of cheese?
The last game that we played on Pudge was amazing.
Yeah.
And I would say
Was.
it's pretty good against Slardar. It's good against Disruptor, saving allies that get sent back. It's great offensively, too.
Yeah. I'm a little interested to see how they're going to be able to have something that stands up to that. I mean, they don't really have... I guess they do have a pretty decent amount of damage so far, but you got to take a lot to take that big guy down. How are they going to answer all that meat?
I don't think that's really the question. You should say it's more what can they have that's going to be survivable against getting hooked, and Quap is the best for that. It was something that Newbie actually used very successfully against VP in the first time they matched up. If you're trying to gank a Quap, it doesn't matter if you hook her, she'll just blink away.
Magic Immunity is the
Wow.
best, especially instant cast.
So despite the junk, they have gone Lifestealer anyway.
It's because Lifestealer is extremely good against a Pudge.
Yeah. He counters in many ways.
You kind of want to get hooked.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I don't need to get
Please
delivered.
bring me in so I can destroy you.
It's like 2 cannibals, right? So he's not grossed out by eating. He already eats dead flesh anyway. So
Yeah. That is graphic, but very accurate, sir. Well done.
look at those chompers.
So, why is he good, though? Because Pudge has this very reliable BKB piercing stun, which is kind of Lifestealer's #1 thing.
You don't want to eat him during rage.
Yeah, because then you're
Because
not.
rage is super long.
Yeah, you're disabling him. That's it.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but then when it ends, he's gonna kill you in like
Yeah.
5 hits.
Oh.
That's the issue.
And you're out of spells. You can't rot even because.
And if Slardar's there or Disruptor's there, they're gonna cancel your stun and then he'll kill you anyways.
And he just, if you take any damage during the dismember, you'll just leech it all back because Pudge has high health and low armor, which is what Lifestealer feasts on.
Okay, so we've had 4 bans each. We're into the second phase of the draft #1. And we've got a Lifestealer one side, Punch the other side. Where are Digital Chaos going next?
They used to run Pudge Alchemist a lot. This was back in the prior patch, but it was just any time you would go into Alchemist while he was farming, they would just hook him back. I don't know if they want to do something like that. It's not really, it doesn't really suit this patch's style, however.
Well, these guys are taking a long time thinking about their next pick here.
I mean, this pick is huge. If whatever gets picked is going to set the tone for the rest of the match, because
Yep.
everything's fairly even right now. So it's going to reveal what they want to do. It's kind of a disadvantageous place to be here.
Yeah, maybe they could just grab something simple though, like Axe. I would say is like a fairly
Or
decent
Legion
off-laner.
Corona, which
Very good.
has
Legion's
not
good.
been banned, has been banned a lot this tournament, hasn't been played an awful lot.
It's a good counter against Lifestealer. It's kind of the point that Slax is making about the Pudge ulti. It's a better version of that, and it allows you to kill the Lifestealer.
And it's
Especially
really
with
good versus Slardar too.
Yeah.
Like now they actually have a way to deal with the Slardar bomb. So
And they can remove Corrosive Haze from people too with press the attack, or it's a lot of great things.
So this is one of the few games that I actually have not seen a Storm banned out from Digital Chaos. Most of the other mid heroes that Newbie typically plays are out of the pool. However, they don't have a Drow Ranger, so maybe a little bit less appetizing for them. His other pool includes OD, Invoker, I would say, are his main ones.
I kind of feel like Newbie just goes for more teamfight picks here, because I already feel like Disruptor ultis on, like, if they catch 2 heroes in it, the teamfight's one, it feels like to me. So maybe something that just allows them to run over their opponents.
This might sound weird. Can I throw this out there, though? Seeing a lot of strength, I'm seeing a lot of meat. Timber Saw, do people like that hero anymore?
KP plays it sometimes. I think it might be a little bit weird for their roles though, just because they almost always put KP on Slaughter and U9 doesn't really play Timber. He plays the int heroes in the mid.
The OD is great though. It's kind of it's a hero that kind of fits in their lineup just fine, but it's defensive in that he can banish his allies. So covers against Legion extremely well. Covers against Pudge kind of too if he has some mobility. But until he gets like a blink or a force, it could be really iffy. He's not always the most consistent against Pudge.
Well, one more coming out here. Oh, Winter Wyvern banned out? That's pretty odd.
Great counter against Legion, one of the best. Great against Omni Slash on Juggernaut as well. Completely makes sense.
Oh, it does. Why? What makes her good against Legion?
If you duel somebody, you can make him do no damage to Legion.
Well, what is that? I mean, you still stun him, Purge. Don't
Stun your ally.
Oh.
With, the ice thing.
Ice thing?
No physical damage.
Who plays that hero? I don't remember what the hell that thing does. I'm glad it's banned out.
It's had some good wins here.
Oh, okay.
Mostly against Meepo.
Has been used very well, and the Raze is gone as well.
Worried about the mid matchup.
Yeah.
What other mid heroes are good versus OD? TA is like okay, it's not
Gold.
great.
It's banned.
Yeah, Viper.
Yeah.
They get Viper.
SF?
They did it before.
Yeah, good vibe.
Yeah.
They had a cool Viper build earlier. I wouldn't say it's great against Lifestealer, though. It's a little scary, and not good against Slaughter either. I don't think it's likely, but they might feel forced into it. That's a possibility. They're also, I mean, all their catches pretty much reliant on, it's okay. Pudge, Legion, Rubik, they can hit towers, fine. So I think they just worry about the matchup and team fights, I guess.
Oh, Sand King cometh.
How do you like that wrap up?
That was really good. So now they have multiple ways to get kills off.
Some people don't like it versus the Rubik, however, giving him Burrow Strike's a pain in the butt. But yeah, it gives them team fight, which they sorely lacks. Nothing to follow up after Disruptor.
Yeah, the OD is not very good for that, except for the Banish. I like the Sand King. Their Slaughter can initiate on Jug, Sand King can initiate. It's another hero that can, if somebody gets hooked by Pudge, he can blink forward, Burrow Strike away, disabling the Dismember.
Just like that drafts in general. I mean, very well-rounded there. It feels like really Newbie can do anything that they want, They can put a lot of power in. They got a lot of team fight. I mean, they got a lot of single target burst. I mean, this is looking pretty darn good. What could Digital Chaos pull out here to kind of round this out in 5 seconds?
So BKB carry, I think, is what they have to go for now. There's too many disables. Or BKB mid.
I think Invoker could also work too. I like it with the Legion Commander, but
I think it's a little too vulnerable to their jump on Newbie's side, but
yeah, that's true.
Ooh, Shadowfield.
yeah, that'll solve
So
it.
he's one of the better matches versus OD. There's not that many left, and
I like it. I thought it rounded out nice.
All right, thank you very much, all three of you. We will hear more from our analysts, of course, after game 1. But it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand final. Let's pass you over to our commentary team for the grand final. It is Capitalist and Toby One.
That is right. It is time for the grand final. Newbie versus Digital Chaos. Who will be the champions of ESL One? Capitalist, I pose the question to you.
I don't know. This first draft is pretty tough. Digital Chaos got some pretty focused heroes that they seem to like. They've got the Pudge on their side as well as the Juggernaut. That's going to be a tough laning phase situation to face up against. But Newbie do have this very powerful combination. Lifestealer plus Slardar plus Sand King. You've got 2 different kinds of initiators, and they both set up Disruptor really well.
And so Digital Chaos, everything looks great for Newbie. Can DC actually hold them back from all these critical items? Like, we look for the early blink daggers. That's been one of the critical things of most of these teams when you look towards the offlaners. Can Newbie create enough space early on to get both SK and a Slaughter their blinks?
Well, the Slider is going to be the hardest one. He's going to be playing the offlane position here. We were kind of talking about, is Sand King actually going to be the support? Because most of the time we've seen in these situations, Slardar is the one to transition into the 4 role. But he will be the offlane, and his blink dagger is definitely key.
Oh, that early ward's not going to get down. Weeha actually breaking Karkar's movement. He's got 2 of the obs as well as 1 of the sentries, so he was looking to get a very, very deep observer ward in behind that secret shop on the top lane.
I mean, classic Digital Chaos. You look at their 2 supports, right? The Rubik as well as the Pudge, both very good at roaming heavily. So the Newbie really wanted to be able to get some aggressive wards down that would not be countered, that would see this movement of the supports around the map.
Oh, and DC, like the second this goes off, is that smoke going to break? Oh, Disruptor, he did. He actually broke it on the Rubik. So U9 will see him coming forward, but with the Rubik, it's so easy to contest up the runes. But what do you do, Newbie? You're so split. You've already got KP on one of them, and you can probably just let it go because SC as well as KP will claim one of them.
If anything, it might be Newbie that actually manages to take 3. If they successfully push DC away from this aggressive attempt at a bounty rune, they're going to be able to get 3 out of 4 of these bounty runes.
Moon's not going to get down to the Radiant Jungle rune in time. KP is actually being very defensive behind the trees. But with the Crush, he's got no issues. Like, he knows he can control up Moon and pick up that rune.
One of the hard parts of this is that we kind of talked about it as like, is Sand King going to be an offlaner? The only reason, I think a big reason to make the Sand King the offlaner in this case is because of the fact that you have this potential 1v1 with the Legion Commander that DC want to be able to set up. And I think that Sand King would very clearly be the better 1v1 hero thanks to Caustic Finale. Slender's going to have a tougher time, but he will use that net worth potentially better. His Blink Dagger initiation is going to be pretty key, especially with the Lifestealer.
Yeah, and if he can get that, and then the combination with the Disruptor to follow up, it could be a very beautiful time for Newbie. For now, we do actually have the Sand King sitting up with Disruptor on the top lane, just staring down Resolution, who's trying to get the momentum of this creep wave back closer to relative safety of the Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, this is the real nasty part. You think about Pudge and you think, okay, he's a roaming hero. Aggressive tri-lanes are less likely, but in this situation, aggressive tri-lane with the Pudge is very strong because of the fact that Pudge is able to do this really gimpy mechanic where he can use the meat hook to be able to pull these neutrals across and actually pull the off lane, which is rather unusual, right? But it's only Pudge who can do something like that.
Yeah, I think the only other person we've seen try and do it this competition is Earth Spirit was one of the other ones. But yeah, now we're actually seeing this in action. And this will drag the creep wave back again. And U9, interested to see how Newbie will then react to this. Like, they're doing a pull of their own, Faye's taking care of that, and it's already a double stack. So the momentum's not going to hugely shift, but it's a lot of denied experience to this tri-lane.
Yeah, they're really going to have to think about maybe doing some sort of evasion with the 2 supports now that they realize this is happening. Conversely, maybe you try and focus on doing a bit of pulling your own, but I don't think you're going to be anywhere nearly as effective as the Pudge will be.
And you know this crowd's excited during a grand final when you're applauding skill abuse by Misery.
Successfully get the pull, man.
There is one upside to this bottom lane which has been going on. So KP has taken a lot of damage from the Legion Commander. He said it wasn't really going to be a favorable matchup, but 2 minutes in, he already triggers off the Shrine, so it takes a fair chunk of damage, and this is because he's running boots only. There's no Stout, there's no nothing like that. He's only got 1 Tango left as well to run this lane. Yeah,
Legion Commander just wins most 1v1s because of Moment of Courage. This free bit of harassment and lifesteal that is given to you is just able to beat out most of these melee heroes that are going to be challenging you. So, but again, like KP is going to make better use of the net worth that he's given.
Mid lane, Karka's going to make a bit of a way in. There's still a level 1 Burrow Strike, and he can't get himself in range in time. He was a long way up the stairwell. He didn't know if there was going to be an observer ward there, which one actually doesn't exist. They only have the high ground vision. Now up on top lane, telekinesis grab, U9, pull back him. The Rage will protect him for now. Misery, glimpse him away, try and give a little bit of space here, but the spin Resolution's underneath the tower. He may die for the cause. He's very low. Karkar's waiting now. The Burrow Strike, it will be revenge. But you still got first blood into Digital Chaos, and it was against the Lifestealer.
Yeah, I think that Digital Chaos actually played that so well. Misery trying to do for a bit of body blocking and then being able to hit the hook right before the glimpse. Very nicely played. You see already the way that Newbie are using this 4-position Sand King. The only time that we've really seen Sand King as a successful support is usually when he has some sort of setup ability, and most of the time that was a 5-position Shadow Demon. But here, thanks to the OD, he actually can have some rotational power against Weehaw thanks to the imprisonment setup.
He just needs the movement speed. Like now he's going to pick up the boot, so that movement speed's going to be there for Karka to close the distance.
And he may also want to be able to use a smoke. If the next time maybe the lane pushes in or they go for this pull, if you smoke up as maybe even just the Sand King and show the Disruptor still in lane, they can easily get that gank on Weehaw and set the Shadow Fiend back a serious amount.
What a nice time to get a fresh Observer Ward down, seeing the very big invasion coming from the Rubik as well as the Pudge. Juggernaut, I mean, Lifesteal seem to be very happy just to run down. If Karka can get that Burrow Strike out, then they have potential for kills.
This is going to be a life stealer, so set back. He is going to have a hard time being able to get his phase boots, I feel like. This power of the DC, they've got these multiple abilities that are going to be able to just kind of ignore rage. You've got the hook, you've got Juggernaut with his Omni Slash that is going to be able to focus down the life stealer. And you've also got the potential combination with the... Good attempt there, Saksa, but not good enough to take that back.
Well, he's got friends. Weehan's in the neighborhood, but you don't have another controlling factor. So Karka's just going to use the Burrow Strike to try and outrun them. And with SC in the neighborhood, Karka shouldn't get anywhere near death.
Yeah, certainly not. He's going to force the 2 supports over, and they may still try and do the wraparound here.
That level 2 hook's in range. He can reach Karka. Karka's going to see him, and there goes your hook. Karka dodges it inside the tree line. SC starts up with the imprisonment. You've got Burrow Strike into Sandstorm, so if Sandking wants to do it, he's looking up, but he actually changes targets, looking towards the Rubik. SC, there's no real damage, and Karka, he has to go inside the Sandstorm. Faith's going to help out the hook, actually dragging Faith in closer, and Pudge, Misery's in trouble. The damage will be enough. Actually, maybe it won't be from just that imprisonment, but nope, it is. Misery will fall, and they'll trigger off the shrine, so all the damage that was done is completely negated.
Yeah, Misery was hoping to be able to get up into that high ground so then he could try and rot himself to death, but unfortunately gets caught by the imprisonment just before he gets out of sight. Good attempt there by, I think, like Newbie very smartly making that turn with the TP rotation. Again, the downside is KP is just repeatedly being abused. He's already had to go back to base once. He's also used that offlane shrine, as you've pointed out. And Moon Meander, he's got himself phase boots, and he's going to have a very early armlet at this rate.
They're having another crack at mid, but the Hawk pulling Weeha out. The advantage of imprisonment, it sets up for Newbie, but also sets up for Misery, and SC raises, but oh, the Burrow Strike is there. And goodbye, we glimpsed back into death. That early point up, Faith went for it on the 3rd level to have their 2nd point up in glimpse.
Very smart use of the Observer Ward placed out. That's probably going to be read by Digital Chaos, but well worth it. You can go ahead and lose that Observer Ward, but it gave them the vision necessary to be able to get that glimpse.
And a kill on an SF is definitely something you'll take. Interested to see when rotation comes this bottom lane, because Moon is walking around with that duel, so he needs a little bit of help to make that kill happen.
Yeah, Legion Commander is particularly good at being able to scale even better now in 7.0 thanks to the increase in talents. At level 25, you get plus 40 duel damage when you win a duel. So that's pretty interesting, but it's also the fact that Legion Commander already scaled pretty well if you can get the armlet first into the later Blink Dagger, and this is what Moon's plan is.
Open wins, Resolution will spin it off. That Observer Ward, KP's got to get out of here. They know that, actually, they may not know that SK is there until now as he walks on top of the shrine. But they'll realize that SK is actually leaving, so KP is all by himself. Rubik walks forward, but no, he can't reach him. It's a level 1 telekinesis. He doesn't have that range just yet, even with the movement speed from boots.
And it may be mid that dies instead. Weehan's going to go ahead and bounce back to his Radiant. This is a frequent neutral camp that is going to be farmed up by SFs when they feel uncomfortable with where their lane is right now. And Weeha, his spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah, he knows something is up. And Karka is looking for something as well. He's hoping to also leech out that experience. Already with a roaming SK, 7 minutes in, you've hit level 5. Now you're going to see the rotation of Resolution. So you know there's some heavy movement coming from the DC lanes, but they won't see this Pudge coming over as well. Like, if they can. Actually, no, the Dire Observer Ward, it did actually get the vision of him.
Man,
Under the cover of smoke is difficult.
This is super awkward. We've got this weird standoff in the mid lane, but Juggernaut has abandoned that offlane scenario that we were looking at earlier, and he's so far behind in CS now. And they haven't quite finished up with Moon Meander. I think he'd like to be able to actually complete his armlet before he rotates anywhere out of this lane, so they're actually going to try and set up a gank for him.
He's got to get out of here right now. Is there TP support coming? Double TPs. The duel will begin. Is there he tanky enough? No, he's not. Moon will find the kill, but an instant burst strike from Karka, bringing in SC. They'll have an extra imprisonment and dragging Resolution back. He already used his spin to help get the kill. Moon, not enough damage to find him. Karka, not enough mana. He can't burrow strike, so we have to go back between the towers to find the other kill, which will happen on Resolution.
He's almost there. Kaka's, he has the clarity. He almost has the burrow strike.
He'll have to go blind. Where is it? There's to press the attack. Kaka.
No, he keeps up.
Is he getting?
Oh, no!
He burrow strike the wrong area. Maybe he didn't get the vision over on Moon. Now Moon can actually turn around and find this one. If they can wait it out another 13 seconds, he can even get the dual damage if he wants it. But Kaka into the trees, running away. Support's coming in from U9. This will keep Misery away, but Moon is still on the chase. Phase boots on cooldown, and he's going to give it up for the moment, or will he? U9, the attack, Moon down to 300. 100, but the TP will be successful.
I think that was a very risky maneuver by DC. Against this team in particular, Newbie are particularly good at being able to always have TPs and always be able to reactively rotate to be able to deal with a certain overextension, certain ganks like that. And DC committing so heavily behind that tier 1 tower, and in an off lane especially, where the tier 1 and tier 2 are rather close together, and you have that shrine to go on. Newbie just, their TP rotations were beautiful.
KP, does he have the movement speed to catch up? The crush is available. With that haze on him, he's going to hit the crush, but one more hit, he needs one more hit, he's got it. But maybe the punishment could be there from Rubik. Movement speed, KP going the run on bottom lane. A denial out from Misery as he got attacked underneath that tier 1 tower. And KP is away.
Sad times for Digital Chaos. They just lost what is supposed to be their kind of, 2 position, I guess, in this situation. Juggernaut, he's had such a bad laning phase. Now he dies to the Slardar. They rotate heroes up, can't actually get the kill, and Newbie is actually pressuring that bottom lane all the meanwhile. So they have so much space to work with, and they're actually still punishing DC and the 1 heroes that they're clumped up at.
This timing just doesn't look good for DC. Like, OD's also having the time of his life in the mid after already having that hand of minus. Maybe they can punish up KP. As Rubik will pick him up. Moon has the duel available. Trying to wrap around the back of it as, okay, maybe KP will walk into it. He gets the crush on the other side. Thanks to the creep wave was there. He saw it, so they'll imprison. This allows, again, Newbie to position nicely. Faith, he could commit the ulti if he wants to, but no, he just got another crush.
Oh,
Very
he might just
simple.
have Misery too.
Oh, with a glimpse back, now they'll commit up the storm. SD's coming over with the orb damage. Misery doesn't really stand a chance. Another high-level imprisonment, and he'll pop the second he appears back into the world of living. Obviously dead.
He's got a mega kill streak already. It's 10 minutes into this game, and this guy's a beast. He's sitting at 5,000 net worth 10 minutes into the game. That is easily going to be breaking 10K by 20, and that's just such a bad sign for a hero. Like, OD is not one of the strongest heroes in the early game, but he's very rapidly going to scale later on.
Rez has spin as well as the Omni Slash, so he's going to put down the healing ward to start with. Moon, well, he's going to run in, but all he's got is the armlet, and now is infested inside the, is inside the melee creep of the Radiant side. So pushing out the wave is just going to allow the lifestealer to hang around here for a while.
Yeah, they start heavily going for the denies. It's just that one last melee creep.
Wait, no, freedom. Freedom.
He takes it.
They're worried. They're worried support is coming, but they don't actually have any vision on the bottom river area. And he's actually trying to last hit with this creep. Yeah, no more of that.
Yeah, they had a 3-man smoke rotation coming in from Newbie. Digital Chaos backed up, I think, at the right time. If they pursued that one out a bit too much, they were going to be lured into a nasty fight. Newbie's already done that to them multiple times. Newbie, I feel like they're almost taking a couple of pages out of Wings books when it comes to luring these enemy teams into fights that are just bad for them. They see a certain hero, they kind of tunnel vision onto it, they get a little bit too deep into the map, into the dire side, and then they just get punished by, especially by this Disruptor. Faith has had excellent positioning, and they just seem to be playing really well around these heroes. And part of it is the fact that OD is willing to move so heavily.
Kaka escaped 2 hits from an SF, and he loses almost 50% of his life. But this is what you do when you go as an SK, like, rushing your Blink Dagger. Speaking of that, KP, very close. You already said, like, unfavorable fights. Once this Blink Dagger is up and you've got an Infest combo, which isn't just a run away.
Yeah, I love the fact that they were moving this Outworld Devourer around the map quite heavily, because you need to be able to bring these extra forces to the battle to make sure that you have the numbers to be able to get the extra catches, right? Disruptors doesn't make much sense as a hero if the enemy team is always in your face and they're actually winning out engagements. But if you bring the necessary numbers to be able to make sure that that one hero you're focusing on does die and you force DC to retreat, you're always going to be able to get that extra catch off of the glimpse. So they've been playing really well around that Disruptor because of the OD's willingness to rotate to these side lanes, and then now we're going to have this extra big boost in power with the Blink Dagger on Slardar.
I want to keep my eyes a little bit closer on the Ruby. He's still an interesting ability because he's still Infest. I don't know if he can actually set up any kind of trap by jumping inside the creep wave.
Maybe he can do something like that. More likely, he would look to be able to like infest inside Legion Commander and they do some sort of blink play. But Legion Commander's been set so far back. His Blink Dagger is he's only halfway there.
He's still got decent net worth. Like, he's still the second highest net worth on Digital Chaos, but at 4.8k to the 7.2k that exists of the OD.
Yeah, considering DC, like, everything about their laning phase was setting up Moon Meander for success. The fact that he is not actually above even the Lifestealer is a bad sign.
They already used the Infest just to farm up on the Rubik, and the push is coming. That's a full team commitment coming in from DC, and there's only one player in the neighborhood, and that's U9, and he's bailing. He doesn't want to be involved in any of this, so they'll give up the tier 1 tower. This feels like classic Dota, where that 13-14 minute safe lane tier 1 tower of the dire side just falls with no contest.
Yeah, I love that. Very little risk from U9. He could have like, hey, you know, team rotate up to me, we can go ahead and fight this, but instead he rotates to his team, and even if they're still going to fight up at their top lane, at least they make sure they grouped up first. They're also giving Kaka space to try and farm up his blink dagger, so it may be a better idea just to be able to sit back and let DC take some map control, take some objectives for the time being, because 2 or 3 minutes, double blink dagger is going to be up on Newbie, and I don't think DC can deal with that level of initiation.
Man, they don't even know about the blink dagger on KP. It's already there. They smoked already, looking for the fight. They went underneath an observer ward. Now KP gets in pretty close. The vision's not quite there. You'll see Resolution, and then blink.
Nice
no,
man.
the spin. Perfect time from Resolution, and maybe now with a pull back.
He might be able to get him on the slash onto KP. They do successfully get that one. Weehaw gets off the ultimate. The Static Storm is down, but they still are going to be able to bring down Weehaw.
Yeah, that's the big one right there. You just chain it up, and now they need to find more kills. The 4-star forward, SC's trying to get in range of the retreating Digital Chaos. Kaka, he's got his Burrow Strike up too, so if they want to try and turn and fight this one, Moon does have duel. He'll have the control, but Faith just walls them up, and DC cannot penetrate that wall.
Yeah, they stay grouped up behind that healing ward, and there's just not enough big ultimates left on the side of Newbie. First of all, because they haven't actually leveled.
Oh, the ball! Faith thought he was out. He was TPing in a rather exposed area, but Misery throws the hook up. I'm not certain he had vision around the corner there, but now SC turns around. U9 has his open wounds. Infest in 4 seconds time. Misery will pop back out. He denies himself under SC. Unfortunately, the Rubik doesn't have the same kind of option, but he buys his Tranquil Boost before death.
That was nasty. I can't believe DC continued to push forward just as these death timers coming back up for Newbie, and they have this big shrine to be able to TP to. It's a little bit too deep for them, and they get punished. In fact, they're going to get punished even heavily because Newbie, they're going to be able to easily take Roshan from here, thanks to the fact they've got this Slaughter, this huge minus armor and Corrosive Haze, on top of the fact that Lifestealer's also rocking still that early Blightstone. Roshan doesn't really stand much of a chance, and the rest of the 2 DC cores also rotated down to the very bottom lane, so they're so far away from Roshan Pit that Newbie feel extremely comfortable with their positioning.
They're just going to be a little bit quicker about it. They scan up. No one from DC's there, and yep, there it is. Aegis the Immortal. They'll put it into the hands of the OD and protect that big kill streak of his.
All right, we're finally going to have some ultimates leveled here. Our World Devourer, SC, decided to save his ultimate until he picked up level 14, and Kaka, he was kind of waiting for his Blink Dagger to come up, so at level 10, he'll finally have Epicenter. That big increase, I don't know how DC actually deals with this. I think they were hoping to be able to fight, before the OD has his big ultimate, ready to go. A lot of ODs like to wait a little bit until they pick up that big team fight ultimate because they feel the other abilities are stronger. And they also knew that the Blink Dagger for the SK wasn't back up, and that is a huge increase in team fight power. So I think they felt a little compelled to try and take fights against Newbie anyway. But now I think it's a near impossibility. DC have to play a lot more of a split push and pick off game than anything else.
Yeah, and that's going to be really difficult because who do you split push and then pick off? Like, SC's now going to have his maneuverability. There's that second Blink Dagger we're talking about arriving on Kaka. And Faith can always just send somebody back, so if you're going to pick someone off, you're going to come with like heavy numbers because you are not leading this. Maybe with the Blink Dagger from Moon, they have an extra chance, but they'll have to jump onto SC. They cannot allow that imprisonment to be there, or else you're just going to lose. Even then, like, Kaka might just bring in the Epicenter, could bring in the Burrow Strike, have the Storm, and Moon just loses the fight and gives more damage to an OD.
Yeah, I guess maybe DC do have some chances against Newbie when it comes to a team fight, as long as they're playing defense, because they can rely on the Pudge Hook as the form of initiation. If they can actually pull a Newbie member out of position, they stand a chance.
They need to have that vision. Newbie's still looking for that Observer Ward that let the Misery do his hook. So they don't find the Fire Strike on a Misery. Faith gets the wall up. He's still got Glimpse available. They'll see Misery. They will pull him back in right on top of KP. Still no Storm committed. They don't need it just yet. So Misery will fall. And meanwhile, SC just runs straight into the middle of the rest of DC.
Yeah, he knew he could get the extra catch. So with the imprisonment, that should be a death. Oh, nice Burrow Strike.
It was stolen by the Rubik and gives him the space back behind the tier 2 tower. Quick press the attack. Up from Moon is giving a little bit of intimidation, but on bottom lane, Weeha's done a lot of damage. He's still got that Blink Dagger, so a lot of confidence just to jump into the tree line and TP out. And it's at 18 minutes that Weeha enters the base and starts doing damage to the tier 3 tower. Newbie are not coming back yet. They're sticking around. It's like they want to have this fight and then deal with Wii.
Yeah, a little bit of chip damage on their tier 3 tower isn't the end of the world if they can get a really good initiation in this top lane, but it just doesn't happen. They're finally going to be forced back. DC, that was an interesting approach, right? They went for this smoke and this aggressive maneuver into the dire jungle, while at the same time Weehaw was heavily pushing out that bottom lane, thanks in part to the blink dagger. It was, again, a very risky maneuver, but I think it's something that DC had to take. Either Newbie were going to rotate some heroes to stop the SF, in which case that smoke rotation would be very successful into the dire jungle, or they were going to run into some heroes of Newbie, get caught, and that's exactly what happened in Misery, but it bought a ton of space for Weehaw to be able to operate in bottom.
Man, you looked for it. You looked for the split push, and that's exactly what you got. Got that reclaiming Aegis in 2 minutes. That's the last little bit of a window that Newbie have to try and maybe force the fight, but every time they're running around, they're running underneath DC vision. Their observer wards have seen all of Newbie's movements.
Digital Chaos, the one saving grace of this game has to be their ward game.
Oh, maybe if this blink can work. Blink, crush, no spin this time for Resolution with the burst strike follow from Kaka. They get a successful kill, and this will finally allow them to remove the final tier 1 tower of Digital Chaos.
Oh, nice pick up there with the hook. They're going to be able to get the duel onto KP, but they're still going to try and fight this. Kaka, he goes in with the epicenter. They're going to try and take out these 2 heroes behind the tier 2.
Huge, absolutely huge. You're waiting for the Newbie combination. And that is a sacrifice you're willing to make. A dead Slaughter for those extra 2 kills and a tier 1 tower.
This is something that we saw in the semifinals. When Newbie operate, they operate as a team, man. When they go for dives, they go as all 5. And there's this certain strength to it, right? That they say, you know what, who cares about a tier 2 tower as long as we're all 5 going together? We saw that too in the semifinals where they 5-man dove a tier 1 Radiant tower in the safe lane. Super early on, dove behind the trees and everything. And even if they did get bit by it, at least they were playing on the same page, you know? They seem to have a very controlled perspective of the game where everybody is doing exactly what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, and that's just one of the big strengths of a fantastic team that is going to be around for a long time in that tier 1 area. And DC, well, they're no mugged as well. They're looking for any kind of opening they could find, but now it's actually Newbie's vision. Their observer actually doesn't scan out to the shrine. It's just a little bit further south, so it doesn't see the heavy movement, but with Resolution moving the way he is, you know this feels like a bait. So you just back up and you continue to farm up U9. You're trying to push him into actually the Assault Cuirass is his next major item on that Live Stealer.
Yeah, he wants to be able to make sure that he has enough physical damage and minus armor to be able to rip through one hero during that Slardar initiation, get the numbers advantage, and then turn from there. Newbie, or actually it's DC who have an interesting choice. Weehaw's going for the early Aghanim Scepter, which is going to grant them a lot more team fight, and I agree. Newbie are going to hit this certain peak around 25 minutes. They're going to bully down your tier 2s, and you can't just let them take it. You do have to contest in some fashion, so upgrading that team fight potential does mean a potential win.
But is it going to do enough against the big hero? You look at SC, and now he's got enough money to actually buy the entire BKB, so he's got a lot of immunity going into the fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure how DC is going to be able to deal with him. Legion Commander doesn't have really the snowball just yet. He's got an okay amount of physical damage, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to actually bring down the OD. They definitely, I think this game's all about initiation for DC, but their big form of initiation is a little bit slow, right? It's blink into a duel. Potentially, if SC is fast enough, he gets off the BKB, and I'm not sure if he dies to the physical damage in time. Maybe with an Omni Slash, but again, Newbie are going to be staying very 5-man unit. Like, I don't think there's any reason for them to worry about, split pushing a whole lot. They just need to make sure they aren't picked too often and let DC slide their way back into this game.
I love this, the sentry warding that's gone down from Digital Chaos. They put down one dire observer ward in between. Oh, okay, Kaki. He's got blink. He's going to get that courier. Just makes life a little bit more difficult. But it's a tier 2 tower that's now being traded for a tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I mean, DC's happy with that, I think. They tier 2 for tier 2 when they're behind, and they still needed a bit of extra gold. Yeah, because they have a little bit better physical damage, I would say, with the SF, and they want to be able to force Newbie into a defensive position. They want to be able to force Newbie onto the dire side, so that frees up some of the Radiant area, like their jungle, to be able to farm up those extra items. Again, this little bit of gold was, I think, very important, because they've got finally the Aghanims on the SF, a potential, really big win. It's going to get the Juggernaut, a Manta style, which is a decent upgrade in and of itself, and then you also have the Blade Mail that's coming up from Moon Meander, which can actually change the game entirely if he gets the duel on the OD before the BKB goes off.
That's a big if. Right now, my eyes are on KP. That very sprinting Slider is hoping someone from Digital Chaos just comes a little bit too far around, and he's got his target. It's the Rubik. Very quick pop. And they have all the vision. They know there's no one else behind him because with Newbie's aggressive maneuver, they were able to get a dire observer ward inside the Radium base. They see all of DC. So now the shoe's a little bit on the other foot where both teams actually had the vision and not just DC.
Yeah, and this is a really nice position for Newbie because now they know, hey, these heroes aren't actually, sitting, say, sometimes you'll see these split pushes happen, and instead of backing up, the heroes will actually just hide themselves in the jungle, kind of biding their time until they feel comfortable pushing once again. But with this kind of observer ward, they know, okay, everyone of DC did actually back up. We can go ahead and freely split ourselves apart a little bit and push out these side lanes. I think this is also very important that they are going to focus on the remaining tier 2s instead of trying to go high ground in some sort of jumbled attempt because DC do have very good high ground defense. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good thanks to Pudge and it's Misery Pudge. We've already seen him hit some really amazing hooks in this tournament so far, and I anticipate, like, any Pudge player, right? You just kind of feel yourself sometimes. You've been hitting your hooks, you feel good, and it just kind of goes better. That's the way I'm sure Misery's feeling right now.
Yeah. I also love how the trend of items from KP is just reflecting that too, the fact they don't want to go high ground. With that Hand of Midas, he's looking for an extra kill. Rubik, SK is already going to be there. Quick Fire Strike, and again, the punching bag is the Grand Magus.
I think Saksa is in some way playing a Pylai die role right now. He's just kind of soaking up a lot of attention from Newbie. He's putting himself out there, and if he gets ganked, it's fine. It's a 3,000 net worth Rubik. It's not a big win for Newbie by any stretch of the imagination. It shows a lot of heroes on the map.
Oh, that scan.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, right?
That scan's still hitting Weeha. They know he's still in the tree line.
Yeah, so they're like, Haka's like, come on, guys, hurry up. I'm going to go find him.
I need more friends. There's an observer ward. He moves up. That scan did go all the way to the side. Weeha baiting the ultimate into the tree line. Starts his TP. Kark would have to go for a blind bar strike the wall.
If they get that kinetic field, they get the vision, a glimpse goes down probably before that TP completes. That was incredibly close.
If Karka gets left not right, then you lose the SF, and that's the bigger thing, not just the Rubik pickoffs, and it wouldn't allow DC to go for this play they're doing now. It's a smoke maneuver up mid. Weehar's going to push the lane with razors, so this may be a little bit of a flag to Newbie that something is awry. And they're already in position. Put the Slider in aggressive position, he'll break out the smoke, and everyone else is right behind him.
Yeah,
Actually,
they
did he just... They thought they were doing Roshan. With Karka's maneuver. Hook, hello, hook, Byron strikes, he'll connect on Misery. Blink forward, actually gets a crush on the Juggernaut, holds him in, the Storm is in position, Meander, he can't go anywhere, he's doing him up, and now with the ulti, the Epicenter's in there, it's huge damage from Weeha, but will it be enough? He's already lost two of his teammates, and he hasn't killed off the big one. It's SC with the double kill. Bringing down Weeha, and Newbie survived the damage and returned it in kind.
Oh, unfortunately, I don't think Moonmeander got off his blade mail before he managed to duel. I think I was going to praise Moonmeander for being able to get that quick reaction. The Infest pops out, and he immediately blinks in and manages to duel up the Lifestealer. But unfortunately, Lifestealer's just too big right now. He outputs too much damage. I don't think the blade mail was out, so that was obviously a big loss of damage right there. They tried to set this up where they would counter-initiate and be able to set up this big SF ulti. Unfortunately, DC just appeared to be a bit too far behind. Newbie easily clean up that fight. They'll probably get the Aegis off of it and that remaining tier 2 atop.
And this is going to be the other big items arriving too. U9, thanks to that fight, now has enough money to finish the Assault Cuirass. So this will add on top of having the Corrosive Haze.
Yeah, he won't care as much about that bounce back blade mail damage from the Legion Commander, right, with this big increase in armor.
And the armor's going across the board too. Blink forward, U9, well, the duel's going to be out. KP's in the neighborhood, tries to go for the cross. Resolution, the spins there. Legion Commander's losing that fight. U9, he'll be crowned the winner with plus now 28 damage onto the Lifestealer. Open wounds, he wants his life back. He can take it from Misery if he can just reach him, but thanks to Misery's force up, he's got the distance. But U9 hitting like an absolute truck. One more hit will do it, but Misery will deny himself. But on the other lines, it's Rubik who sacrifices himself to keep Newbie at bay.
KP is such a monster Slardar. He saw that opportunity for a double crush that could gain them one more kill. And Newbie, they actually may not go for that tier 2 top lane. They're kind of looking at it.
Woo! SC. That's optimistic.
I think this is the first, relatively risky maneuver that Newbie's going to take in this game, trying to go high ground. 5 seconds left until these heroes are back up. They have the Aegis, yes, and there's a lot of security for sure, but there's still the opportunity for DC to be able to make a good hook play and still find a successful team fight around these shrines.
It might be difficult. Like, you've still got Epicenter, a fresh Yule Scepter has also arrived in for Newbie. They're actually building double Yules, which is always a fun thing to do against a Pudge. The way that it interacts with that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Sinking. When he gets these, multiple mobility items, you get the Blink Dagger first, Force Staff, and Yule Scepter, you just become a hero that's impossible to be able to catch. He just moves in and out of these team fights, being super disruptive. And we've seen the way that some of these heroes from DC, particularly the Legion Commander, have had a hard time latching onto heroes. They just get kited around if he doesn't get a successful initiation with Duel.
Hey, you're asking the question why Legion has been popping in and out of the draft before, and that's the question that's been asked by the panel a hell of a lot. We're getting a good example of it at the moment. Newbie, they're grouping up. So they didn't take out the tier 3 tower in the mid, but they are looking to now open up the shrines by pushing through the top. Where are you off to, Misery?
I just realized, look at Lifestealer and his damage that he
plus
won
28?
from the duel, plus 28. That's more than the Legion Commander's one, plus 24 for him. That's just a small little taste of how bad this game is going.
Who really is the champion?
Yeah, exactly. This last tier 2 is going to go down. They're going to be able to start taking
bottom. Weehar's already attacking the tier 3 tower, and Newbie are not in a great position to try and defend this. So you bring in Karka to start with. Burrow Strike slows down the SF. There's a lot of support behind him. The Storm is beautiful. It caught Resolution as well as Weehar there. Faith will all be triggering off the fountain. The Shrine, and with the Glimpse back, Weehar, a quick blink out, maybe Misery. SC drops the hammer down. You start the duel, but you can't win that one. Now SC is going to get more damage. Rubik in the tree lines, the blink crush in the wrong area.
Oh, he's in the perfect position.
Out! Every position but the one that Newbie was checking.
Kaka even used himself in a last-second attempt to be able to stop that TP, but they don't quite get it. Newbie, they're dealing with this well. I'm impressed by the way that Digital Chaos are doing this split pushing, because honestly, I feel like they should have no chance in this game right now, but they are forcing Newbie to move around the map. They haven't quite been able to go high ground or anything like that. This is what DC, I think this is one of their greatest strengths, is this split pushing power. They seem to be able to read movements really well, and because of that, they successfully split push without getting caught too often. But Newbie and their 5-man, they're taking very little risks about this. I think that's exactly the way to play this game. They had a very clear lead by 15 minutes, and they just made sure that we're never going to throw it away. They're systematically taking the shrines now, and eventually I think maybe we wait for the second Aegis possibly before you go high ground, because it's not like they're on a ticking clock at all. OD.
AP. He's going to find Resolution. Does he get the crush off? Resolution already starts up the spin. Again, TPing out. The spin will last long enough, but Weehar is the one who is in trouble. Karka sets him up. Now the BKB ulti. Weehar, well, okay, start a TP. KP needs a bash from this one, and he doesn't get it. RNG, this is not your friend, but the middle lane, it's once again Moon having trouble. He gets the kill on the Disruptor. The Blade Mail actually hurting Disruptor more than anything else.
U9 still got the turnaround kill. That's actually going to grant him a basher. He's still going to have an Abyssal Blade. That is an impossible scenario. For whatever hero gets jumped by the Slardar and the Lifestealer combination, you have not only this big initiation, the minus armor that happens, the heavy physical damage, but now you have some additional lockdown that can go through BKB on the Lifestealer. Not even the SF can deal with this.
This is going to have to be something magical if DC are able to hold the next big attack from Newbie.
It's going to be something of miracles, I think, because we're looking at an extremely big lead.
Yeah.
20,000 net worth, 25,000 experience, and it's only 32 minutes in. And the fact that Newbie it's not like they're running out of time.
Yeah.
OD is just going to continue to scale later and later into the game.
But this is one of those things where maybe Digital Chaos, as you said, they've still got a lot of good initiation, good repositioning, fighting from inside that base. If Newbie try and go for it a little bit too early, you then have that big Weehar ultimate. As long as he's got the souls to back it up, this SF can still get stronger and stronger as time goes on. He's already got the extra physical damage thanks to the +2 for each soul.
I just worry he doesn't have enough physical damage to be much of a threat. Because he went for that Aghanim Scepter, right? It was a team fight focus, but they didn't actually manage to win any of those team fights. So his physical damage is looking rather lackluster for an SF who's supposed to excel at it.
Yeah. At least Legion's going to have a funner time. If he can complete that BKB, which Moon is staring down, then there's at least less troubles for him. But actually, no, it's not. You look at the money coming into the Disruptor. Thanks to that first point in the talent tree, the plus 60 gold per minute, he keeps moving closer and closer towards that Aghanim Scepter.
Blink back. Saksa one step ahead of the attempted initiation here from KP. Even KP is looking really strong thanks to his early hand of Midas after the Blink Dagger. He's got a Yules and he's going to be finishing up an Echo Saber in a second.
Misery needed that. He really, really needed that hook.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I think, is now on Misery. I do not believe that the rest of Digital Chaos's players can actually win this game when the high ground push comes without Misery successfully hitting a good hook.
But Misery doesn't have the range for the hook yet. Yeah. And he's not looking to buy it. Like in his quick buy at the moment, he's looking at a Gem of True Sight for his team.
I do kind of agree with this. A lot of people tried to go for the Ether Lens, and it was a cool concept, right? It was like, oh, look how long range this hook is, but most of the time that extra range is not actually going to be utilized. The Force Staff just comes in. That extra utility feels a lot better for these frenetic team fights that are bound to happen in 7.0.
So you get the different initiation, which is the Blink Dagger on the Rubik. So yeah, that works nicer for him.
Yeah, if he can actually maybe even like sacrifices his life to be able to hit a telekinesis that ensures a hook inside the base, like that's the kind of sacrifices and risky plays that DC have to make in a game like this that is so set against them. The odds are entirely in Newbie's favor.
Look at DC. They're hoping that Newbie is somewhere near their jungle, leaving some observer walls behind as they go for this run. Resolution has bought out to buy up that Eye of Skadi.
Yeah, he's so close to it. Going without buyback, I think, is like most people would criticize that. You're really close to like this end game scenario. What happens if you die? But DC can't think about that.
Kaka's checking Roshan. DC, the trap is set. The only question is, will Newbie realize what's going on? They poke into Roshan. We'll have potential spawn time in a second as now they smoke up. It was under no vision. Legion Commander breaks it. He got the duel up on the OD. Storm is down as well. We are winding up on the ulti. It'll hit, but is the damage enough? With Kaka arriving, it actually isn't. Kaka epicenter did almost nothing. Now it's up to DC. Can they get more? No, U9 still ripping through them. Weeha able to get some revenge with his own double kill, but SC is low. Omni Slash bouncing up. Kaka turns in for the Burrow Strike once again. The hook is well off target, and SC can just do the work. Bringing down Resolution, turning his attention now towards the punch. And what do we even do as the SF? A couple of ranges to help out. Kaka is looking to actually find it. So Misery, he's dismembering in the mid lane, but they're going to lose their entire team. Weeha thought he was helping, and now he's pushing up the daisies.
40 HP. 40 HP is what SC was left with at the end of that big ultimate from the SF and that one last right click. That would have actually been so big if DC could have killed him.
He can't die here. He's only just bought back. He's trying to push out the bottom lane, but SC with 56 stolen intelligence. He doesn't just hit like a truck. He's a bulldozer right now, right through the DC lineup, and you're ready to go in again.
Newbie, just keep up the pressure. They can smell serious weakness on the DC lineup. They should be able to take at least 2 lanes of racks and maybe threaten Megas with 75 seconds left on the SF.
Man, at this point, you wait for SC just to blink and initiate. BKB ready and willing. The hook will happen. The pickup on U9, but in comes SC. Moon starting up the duel, but again, the storm is absolutely perfect. Moon will die. SC will stand his ground. It looks like it's hopeless now for DC, and it is. GG is the call. Newbie will take game 1 in this best of 5 grand final for ESL One.
Look at SC, man. That look of just determination. I think he just proved himself big time against DC. You know, he had some nice words to say about DC. They look like a strong team against VP, but he said, we're going to take him down, right? And that is exactly what he did in this game 1, man. He put on a show alongside the rest of Newbie against Digital Chaos.
He had so much space as well in the mid lane. Like, the Midas came at an early time. There wasn't that much pressure. We ask ourselves the question, did the Pudge do enough in the early game as well? Like, where did it all start going wrong for Digital Chaos?
Yeah, DC, I think there were so many situations. If the early game just goes a little bit better for them, then maybe they stand a chance, right? There are so many of these duels that were kind of close. You know, if they were just a little bit closer in net worth, that they weren't quite as far behind. If that, you know, if the OD actually dies in that situation, then it's entirely possible that DC can push this a bit later and have a chance. But Newbie, I think they just looked magnificent in this game 1.
And they did, and game number 2 is only a little bit away. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back soon.